Good morning, everyone. Hey, just finished a leg workout here, the MoveWell gym, which is in my house. Voice is coming back, but it's still a little bit iffy, so bear with me. But a couple days ago, I did a Facebook Live, and I talked about the importance of hip hinging and teaching the hip hinge to your patients. And one of the comments that I got when I posted this in a technique forum was something like, great, this is physical therapy, or that's what a physical therapist does or something. So I figured I'd talk about that. Am I just a wannabe physical therapist? Are you a wannabe physical therapist? Are we a physical therapist trapped in a chiropractor's body? Let's explore. Well, first off, before we talk about this topic, if you haven't already, grab this book. It's called MoveWell Secrets. You can get it for free. You just cover shipping. Go to movewelluniversity.com/book. We'll ship this out to you and actually talk about this topic of segment, posture, movement, limitations to the current model in healthcare. I actually do that in chapter 3. The chapter is called Limits to the Current Model. And I figured it'd be fun to maybe start off by reading this. So if you're driving to the clinic to see patients right now, or you're watching this on a replay, just kick back, relax, and it's story time with Dr. Todd. So let me flip this around so you don't have to watch this in Facebook reverse mode. And let's flip this around. Okay. All right, I put some of my favorite quotes up here from my fellow chiropractors. Okay. And let's just talk about this. So it says, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You should just be adjusting. Great, now we're physical therapists. That was a new one from yesterday. That's not chiropractic. Another one is like, learn how to adjust. And, not to speak from ego or anything, but I'd put my adjusting skills against anyone out there. I worked very hard to be good at specific adjusting, and I think I'm a pretty good adjuster. And the reason that I expanded from what I was doing wasn't because I couldn't get people better. It was not it. It wasn't because I felt like the adjustment wasn't important. That wasn't it. It wasn't because I'm a self-loathing chiropractor who uses the term manipulation instead of adjustment. That wasn't it either. I still say adjustment. I still talk about central nervous system. But really what it was is because I wanted to do more for my patients. And I realized that the other practitioners out there that maybe I counted on or assumed were gonna pick up the slack and cover these things, they weren't. So what are some of the things that were not being covered? Addressing posture in a scientific manner, of looking at actual structural abnormalities on x-ray and then giving interventions to correct posture so you'd have better segmental integrity so the adjustment would actually do more. That was not being handled. That's where I stumbled upon chiropractic biophysics. My eyes were open. I was all ears. I said, tell me more, right? Got all I could from that, implemented it, fantastic work, but was not addressing the movement component. So I thought, physical therapists are addressing the movement, right? Well, then I learned how the physical therapy world works. And 90+% of physical therapists, they get the referrals from medical doctors. Medical doctors send over a diagnosis. They tell the physical therapist what to work on. And let's say it's a shoulder issue. That physical therapist can only work on the shoulder under the diagnosis code that the referring doctor hands over. Maybe there's parts of the country this is different, but this is where it's been in every state that I've lived in. And so then what happens is the physical therapist just looks at that area. They don't look at movement patterns. They do isolation type stuff. Most PTs I know do lots and lots of manual therapy. They do passive therapies first, like electrical stimulation and massage and like active release type stuff, maybe instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization, very little corrective old exercises, okay? Nothing really new or fantastic or impressive in my eyes. And the patient's bored, they're not engaged, and it's not affecting full movement patterns, and it's not correlating with posture, and it's not correlating with segment, and it's not based off any x-ray analysis. And the patient, like I said, is not engaged, so they don't stick with it, and it doesn't progress into fitness or strength or power. So, the list goes on and on and on. So as much as we want to say these things, here's the reality at the end of the day. If you don't give a crap about your patients, and you're so focused on your own dogma of this is all I'm going to do because I'm doing a better job for my patients, be honest with yourself. This is all you do because it's all you know. And exploring outside of there is intimidating because you may be in practice for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you're like, I'm an old dog that doesn't want to learn new tricks. To learn all of this stuff seems daunting and overwhelming. Well, I have kind of a caveat to that. It is, if you're starting from scratch, we built a system to put it all together to make it very systematic and very easy to implement. However, I'm not talking about the doctors that want to implement it. I'm talking about the doctors who want to talk badly against those who want to have a very well-rounded approach under the umbrella of chiropractic and still honor the original tenets of chiropractic, which is the body is a self-healing, self-regulating organism. There's nothing contradictory to talking about exercise with a patient if you are a principled chiropractor. And if you think that, you're wrong. Like, my mentors in chiropractic, the people who I think are the most amazing chiropractors back in the day, people like Dr. Gonstead. Did Dr. Gonstead have an indoor swimming pool, had his patients swim for rehab, and he talked about the importance of long stride walking and swimming and various biking exercises? That was the best they could do at that time. So they did instruct people to do exercise. Very rudimentary, very primitive. We know better now. We can do better now. We can do a movement assessment in under 15 minutes. We can extrapolate all this information and we can assign specific protocols based on movement dysfunction, and then we can safely transition someone into building strength. Strength is what's going to keep our patients healthy for a lifetime. If that's really what we want for our patients, is for them to be healthy for a lifetime, you have to build strength, you have to build power, and you have to build it on a strong foundation. And I say this a lot in these videos or podcasts or seminars or whatever, is that if you think someone else is gonna do this, you're rolling the dice with your patient and you're pretty much going like this: I can't hear, I can't see, I don't want to be held responsible, someone else take it over. And the problem is no one else is taking it over. Very, very rarely is someone else taking it over. So the patient is left with a problem and it's not being fixed. And so if you want to take the responsibility and say it is our responsibility as a natural healthcare provider, if we're addressing the spine, if we're addressing segments, and the person has a postural problem, we have to know what that means. We have to know how to identify what is normal for this individual skeletal structure. What's abnormal? Are there deformities in the spine? Can it change? To what extent? So get your knowledge on and learn that. That's chiropractic biophysics. Learn that stuff. They have the most research, best teaching out there for understanding posture, spine biomechanics, coupling patterns. Every chiropractor out there should be learning this stuff. Okay, I'm a huge advocate of that. Second, you're taking care of a patient, they have movement dysfunction. They have a thoracic hyperkyphosis that's rigid, and they can't reach overhead, so they keep hurting their shoulder. What are you gonna do? You gonna work on their freaking shoulder and try to, adjust their shoulder and tell them to go to a physical therapist or whatever? Or say, I'm gonna adjust a spot in your spine and that's the nerve supply going into the musculature of the shoulder, so that's gonna fix your shoulder? Or you're gonna realize that shoulder problems, primarily from a movement standpoint, from a structure, functional standpoint, are secondary to a thoracic dysfunction. So if a person has a thoracic hyperkyphosis and you're not addressing this, you will never, I repeat, never fix their shoulder. So are you okay with that? Or do you have enough, know-how or humility, I guess, to swallow your pride and say, there's more stuff that I need to learn. You're right, I should learn this stuff. I should understand thoracic mobility is primary to clear before shoulder mobility. Someone has a shoulder issue as far as like shoulder flexion, and they have a thoracic hyperkyphosis and rigid thoracic mobility in rotation and extension, you need to clear that and improve it. You're not always going to improve it with a segmental adjustment. It's something that you're going to have to talk about, things like working on tissue, stuff like this, like double across ball. Is this violating the tenets of chiropractic? To send your patient home with a home mobility kit. Teach them what things they can do at home to help keep spinal hygiene in place. Teach them a 5-step evidence-based approach of mobility first, then stability, then patterning, then loading. That's what the research shows is what improves movement. And so chiropractic is absolutely at the center of this, and I feel like we are the healthcare practitioners that should own this stuff. more than anything, more than any other profession out there. And we all have an opportunity to be able to sit back and actually be great clinicians, manage a patient properly. And I mean, honestly, I can tell you, it's so much more satisfying being able to have a patient and look at them from multiple angles that all encompass improving segmental integrity, looking at segment posture movement, and actually getting to use our brain versus saying, come in, let's find where the problem is, let's adjust you, you're gone, and that's it. I did that for years. I know a lot of chiropractors watching this probably do that, and they go, you know what, it's simple though, it's stress-free, it's blah, blah, blah. Why did you become a chiropractor? Did you become a chiropractor because you wanted to be stress-free, or you wanted to just like make a lot of money, or you wanted an easy profession? Newsflash for you, chiropractic is hard. We're swimming upstream against every other healthcare model out there that for the most part has more money, more advertising, and says that we're wrong and they're right, and that's like big pharma and the medical community as a whole. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of a battle going on, right? Doesn't mean you can't work with medical providers and other healthcare practitioners, but as a whole, they are attacking people like us, chiropractors. So getting into chiropractic, you're already swimming upstream. It's not an easy profession. So get past that. It's not going to be easy. Is it going to be fulfilling and satisfying? I would say absolutely. On your deathbed, are you able to look back and say, I did something to make a difference? I would say absolutely. If you just float and coast and you're like, I'm going to do what's easy. I've practiced 15 years. I'm not ready to learn something new. Shame on you, okay? Get out of chiropractic completely. Go sell shoes or go do something else, but stop lying to your patients and get the freaking sign off of your storefront saying chiropractor, because I think you are hurting our profession. Patient walks through your door, they're expecting expertise. If you can't deliver that, you need to be in a different profession, okay? So this will stay in your lane. Here's how I read stay in your lane. I'm lazy, I don't wanna learn anything new, I'm complacent, and instead of me admitting that to myself, because it's really easy to lie to others, it's difficult to lie to yourself, right, as the saying goes. Instead of admitting that, what you do is you stab other people and you say, stay in your lane, you should just be adjusting, you should just be doing this. If you were good enough at adjusting, you'd be fixing everyone. It's such an ignorant comment, it really is. Or, great, now we're physical therapists. Are we? Read chapter 3, please. Get this book for nothing else, to just read chapter 3, and then I don't care what you do with it. You can throw it in your fireplace. As far as in the winter, I don't care. Read chapter 3 though, and tell me if that's something that you still disagree with. If you're one of those chiropractors who's at odds with what I'm saying, that's not chiropractic. What is chiropractic? Is it defined by you? Like, are you the person who made up the definition of chiropractic? Because as far as my definition of chiropractic, it's old school is detection, correction of subluxation. It's by hand, okay? Detection, correction, subluxation by hand. What is a subluxation? What is a joint dysfunction? What is a segmental joint dyskinesia? Whatever term you want to use. If you're like, like I'm the chiropractor, where's the stethoscope and the lab coat? I don't really care. But if you want to say that's not chiropractic, and you accept that chiropractic is detecting and correcting whatever you want to call that problem in the spine, how are you actually correcting it? How are you stabilizing it? How are you making sure that the spine is strong and healthy? So if you're looking at a segment and the person, just for the sake of the same example, person has a thoracic hyperkyphosis. So they're in this position. It hurts to get upright. They can't. They're stuck like this, which we know is a mechanical disadvantage. It's a weak position. They have T6 subluxated right between the shoulder blades. You adjust T6. Oh, thanks, doc. That feels so much better. It's so much looser. I have less back pain. High five, my chiropractor. You fixed me. No, you didn't do anything. You didn't fix them. It's the first step of the process. You move the bone. You move the joint, okay? What you do from there is what really matters. Did you do anything to reinforce or start to teach more of an upright posture? Is that person going to move properly with overhead movements or arms out in front of them? Or are the shoulders packed and retracted? Or is the musculature so tight and gristled down that they can't even move? Are they breathing shallow because they have such a dysfunctional rib cage? But you're like, hey, you know what? I did my part. I stayed in my lane, And now I can go home at 4 p.m. It's so awesome being a chiropractor. I can work from 10 to 4. It's great. I don't know. I'm 16 years in practice. Not to say I love this, but I still get home at 7:30 p.m. at night because I'm taking care of patients. I'd like to get home a little bit earlier, but I'll tell you that one of the most satisfying things in practice that we still have is the fact that we are doing good for our patients. We're making a difference. I have 3 late nights a week that I stay at the clinic. My family is a chiropractic family. My wife and my son, they understand I come home a little bit later. We eat dinner a little bit later. We stay up a little bit later on those nights that I'm working late. But chiropractic has afforded me a very comfortable, a very great lifestyle, very rewarding. And at the end of the day, as much as it's been tough at times, and I feel like I've worked harder in chiropractic in the last several years than anything else I've ever done in my entire life, I wouldn't change it for the world. So agree with me, disagree with me, comment, whatever, grab the book. If you're on board with us, thank you for following. If you're against us, speak up, bring it on. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a debate. Let's have a live debate. I'd love to. Let's raise the awareness for nothing more than, I'm not trying to change your mind if you're on the side of the fence that says we shouldn't be doing this, but all the people who are on the fence, which is a lot of people watching this, they're on the fence, they're like, this resonates with me. Yeah, I feel like I should be doing this, but how do I do this? How much space do I need? How many staff do I need? What's my overhead gonna be? How do you keep patients engaged? How do you progress them? Who does what? How do you train them? All great questions. Contact us if you want to know answers to that. We can talk to you about your individual situation. We have demo calls that we do. We actually demo behind the scenes how our training works. But to date, we have about 120 plus chiropractors who are part of our program. Lots of them have implemented this. Lots have implemented it to a very high extent. They're seeing the same rewards and getting the same feedback from their patients as far as how impressed they are, like the patients that come into our practice, and it just makes things smooth, and it's just so much fun to do. So anyway, I'm Dr. Todd from MoveWell. Appreciate you watching this. Comment below, share this, like this, grab the book, go to MoveWellUniversity.com, and we'll see you real soon.